In my blogs, I seem to be talking about people, and some people say I might be sort of slandering people or whatever. But um, people are the ones that do things. Nothing happens without people. Just recently, I had an article about um, an individual out of Canada, an educational specialist, and it's like, hey, I'm a specialist, I'm more important than you, and you just ranting and all this kind of stuff. Oh, you look what you're saying about me and true and all this kind of thing. And I really went overboard with it and I pulled it off. But I mean, I don't know what he's trying to tell me. You see, these guys are doing educational research, and in their minds, or they're trying to tell the government and others that, oh, I'm so interested in education, I want students to do well and so on. And I doubt that very much, because my continuing theme, if he started off as a child being offered up to Halloween, and he went into all those evil voodoo, Halloween, Ouija board, magic, and all that evil stuff, and he happened to be like a wizard, like Harry Potter, gets into university, studies education, and say, oh my, look what is happening in education, I'm going to reform education. They talk about paradigm shift. And what I've noticed about paradigm shift is just changing the degree of orbit or of trajectory. So like how the NASA going to the moon will take a certain type of angle, they're going to add more to that angle, and instead of going to the moon, you end up going to the sun, or you end up going into space forever. And so today, I mean, at the point of conjecture and all this speculation going on with and the research, the colleagues, even they themselves in the government, and nobody seems to understand that these guys are up to nothing good. Okay, if you think I'm joking, look what has happened to our education. Today, folks graduating from school, they don't know anything. Look how they're doing, look what's going on across the country, across the world. Even Brazil now is saying that folks graduating and they have no skills and know nothing. And these things that they try and claim by somebody's research. We have Spock with his own research about child training. And these kids are out of control now. Let's throw religion out of school. Look what's happening. Murders, shootings, drug use, violence, threats to teachers, intimidation, bullying. I'm saying that these folks know, or they should have known, that they're coming up with something that is going to undermine the education. You see, I don't know what people think when they throw religion out of school and Bible out of school and so forth. Just recently, the judge is saying that yoga in school is not religion. And it's unfortunate this judge can't understand what's happening. This thing is coming out of India, right? They're purporting to something. I don't see what place it has in education, but they're purporting, oh, you can relax with this, or this and that, and whatever. But invariably, I've discovered that people that practice yoga end up reading those books by the Yoga Shaggy and all these Lish Shri this and whatever, and end up mixed up, confused, because it's voodoo. Okay, you could get voodoo in schools, magic, Ouija board, Halloween parties, but you can't have a crusade in school, a Bible study in school. You see, invariably and very subtly, they're anti-Christ, they're anti-religion, they're anti what will work. And so, I mean, I can't help it. I mean, it's people that pushing the issues, it's not the issue itself. And there are people across America, and folks are coming to realize that the enemy within America, Americans who are enemies, are more powerful, and they're more than the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, if these people are enemies. They are more than that, because they are doing much more than Osama could have done, Taliban could do. I mean, if our whole education system fails, who has done it? These American educational specialists and these researchers. Look, take for example, like homework. They're trying to make homework exciting and nice and whatever. Listen, man, you can't make the job site clean and without sweat and stress. That's the nature of work. Or bring your dog to work, and so it can help you to have a calm day and all that stuff. People have to take on the stress without getting stressed out. Take on the problems without flipping out or anything like that. And so, homework France is kind of trying to ban it, but in America unofficially we've banned it. I mean, you don't give kids homework. They're talking about they have to have a nice life, and these kids are gonna go home. They got to watch the show. They got to talk to their friends on the phone. They got to eat. They got all this time. So by the time they get even ready to get anything started, they have so many things that are important that it's time for bed. When I tell them that, look, we get up in the mornings at 3:30 sometimes to study, they don't understand that, and they're telling me that they don't do any homework, but yet they are on the roll. I see that's working. All these things that come up with how to change homework, how to do this with homework, and all this kind of stuff. It seems to be making sense because of this kind of way we test. We do this true false test. We give you all the answers, and you have to choose the correct one, and so on. And the test is basically not based on what you should have studied. It's based on playing some game, some logic game or whatever. All right. Their intention is to obstruct education. You get into law school, the guys that get into law school who pass that LSAT high, they really don't have what it takes to be a good attorney, and injustice prevailing, and when they become judges or whatever, they're just hapless and useless. But if it was based on something that you ought to know, maybe some pre-law courses that you should have understanding of the Constitution, certain landmark laws and the opinion and this and that, I think that will be a better thing for attorneys than these games, playing games. This thing is not real, but just let's make up and let's believe that, make believe whatever. You see, that's how court is, and that's how nature cases are. No, you interview the witness, you look at the evidence, and you, from being practical, to see whether this thing is kind of like leading to whatever they say, and you can ask right questions and get the answer. You don't have to be able to play all these funny games to do it, but they come up with a nice way of doing that. I recall when they changed mathematics from number crunching to philosophy and new math with union and cup and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you could feel already that the enemy is succeeded in undermining the mathematical ability. And what's happening today? You have a business, you better make sure your computers are working because these kids can't count. I recall driving the school bus, or one day I was working in a yard in Florida. See some young people passing up, and all they're talking is about big people stuff. Right? Instead of them talking about some trigonometry or how they're gonna do this mathematics, this or how to write a composition. So I stopped them and said, hey, I have $20 here. Anybody could give me 16 times the table? You got it. And I come down up to maybe 7 times tables. And they can't handle it. And I mean, at least one person in that group should have handled it. So, you have to go after people, because it's people who are joining secret societies. It's people who are joining evil. And they're intentionally, consciously, and sometimes should know that their mission is to obstruct the nation and be traitors and be people who are going to sabotage progress. And you look at it carefully, what has happened to all civilization that passed, the same thing will happen to this current civilization, because we are failing to understand what is important. We get these kids to grow up uncontrollable. We get them to feel that this and that and whatever. I recall teaching substituting in elementary school. They're trying to make these kids into scholars. Hey, now, what do you think about that? And I see them kind of like playing like, oh, let me see, and they have flashcards and all that. In that level, all you have to do is learning stuff, because you're not ready yet. You're not ready to apply things. You're not really ready to analyze, to synthesize, to evaluate. It's just about knowledge, and a little bit of understanding. And then later on, the understanding, and then start putting the things you learn into practice. You don't drink out of the same bottle that somebody else drink upon, and you don't pass the same thing around. You don't smoke cigarettes after others because they might have disease that's going to pass on to you. You don't smoke because it's going to hurt your health, yada yada. So, I mean, I don't like talking about people, okay? But people are the problem, and it's the people who are going to destroy this world and this country.